let's talk about Baby Schumi. There's some big news right now that Mercedes just announced him as their reserve driver. If you're a Mick fan like me, you've been hitting the copium hard ever since it was announced that he wasn't going to have a drive next season. And I want to believe that this is going to be a good thing for his career, but I struggle to believe it. And here's why. Nick de Vries rotted at Mercedes for 3 whole seasons as their reserve driver, and it never got him in a seat. And he didn't even get a chance to move to another team until Williams actually was the one who gave him his debut. He never got the opportunity to shine in a Mercedes. I don't know that affiliation with Mercedes really gave him anything in terms of getting him into a car, which we all know is how you get into a Formula One car. It's kind of crazy. You have to get in one to get in one. But Nick de Vries never really got the opportunity at Mercedes, and I struggle to believe that Mick will either. Maybe he'll do some tests, but more than anything, what I see this as is Toto being sentimental. I know that he's very close with the Schumacher family, and that's probably what's going on here. Is he wanted to make sure that Mick was kept close to the sport, that he lends him some credibility, maybe helps him train up and improve as a driver and become more consistent, learning from some of the greatest drivers on the grid. I hate to admit this. I don't think that he has shown that he has what it takes to bust into a top team. He's had some great battles on the track there. Those 2 with Verstappen when Max had damage and Mick didn't. So he brought the cars together. Those were 2 fantastic battles, but he bins it a lot. I think we all know that. And I wish that I could say that I'm a Mick Schumacher fan because I think he's a great driver, but I'm just going to admit it. I'm a bit of a Schumacher stan. I have my picture that my dad took of Michael Schumacher at the Grand Prix in Montreal. I have my Ralph Schumacher bear that I've had since I was a child. So yeah, obviously I'm a fan of the family. I feel like most people think that Mick deserves a shot just because his dad was such a legend. I mean, but not just that, right? The fact that he was kind of unfairly ripped away from him really makes any sort of empathetic person want to give that person a chance, right? You would hope that if you were in that situation that everybody in society would feel similarly, right? You would want people to make sure that you got that opportunity. And I think that he's demonstrated that he's a talented driver and he can hang in Formula One, but I don't think that he showed that like once in a generation talent that you see with drivers that get snapped up by big teams rather quickly because they show that talent and they show that promise so early, like Verstappen, Leclerc, Russell. I mean, even Norris at this point, right? All those guys got just snatched up because it was obvious. But with Mick, it's almost like he reminds me of Lance Stroll purely in that he'll have flashes of brilliance and real true speed. And it's just so inconsistent that it's hard to believe that there's really anything more there. But here's the thing is he's so young and he's shown that he has speed and he's shown that he's had like genuine ability to battle. So if he gets this opportunity and he's able to parlay it into, say, a drive at Williams when either Albon moves up or if Sargent just turns out to be a disaster. Okay, the hopium's kicking in now because we know that Andreas Seidel has moved over to Alfa Romeo because they want a German team. This happened exactly the same thing with Mercedes, right? They wanted German drivers. So they coaxed Schumacher out of retirement and they had Nico Rosberg. I feel like Audi's going to want to do the same. What they're going to want to do is have Mick Schumacher, perhaps, I'm hoping, and they use him to lure Sebastian Vettel out of retirement, a la Mercedes launch, right? Audi just does the same old formula, and I'm super here for it. And I think that Mick, using this tie to Mercedes, could maybe parlay that into Joe's seat if Joe moves over to a different team or if he doesn't really step it up next season. And if Mick were to get a spot on Sauber while it's Sauber after it's Alfa Romeo and waiting to become Audi, then maybe he might actually have the ability to be in a great car when Audi debuts with their engine. It's possible. It is possible that when they debut that new Audi car engine combo, that it's a monster, right? Like we could see a repeat of Braun. We won't, but we could. We could see a repeat of Braun GP. And, you know, maybe in that situation, Vettel's kind of washed up, and maybe Mick's really been putting in the time and the work, and he just gets a Jensen Button style drivers championship, you know? That's the sort of thing that I'm deluding myself into thinking as a result of hearing that he got this Mercedes reserve driver role, because I just haven't seen that reserve driver role really pay off for somebody who had a far better junior career. You know, phenomenal talent in Nick DeVries. It was obvious that he would be fast in F1, but, you know, he 2020, 2021, 2022, 2022, you know? I want Mick to succeed. Everybody wants Mick to succeed, I think. But in F1, results are really the only thing that matters. And he just didn't put up enough of them in the time that he had. So I'm hoping that maybe Hamilton can get the sniffles, or Russell's appendix can go the way of Albon's, and maybe we see Mick in a Mercedes for a race or two. And maybe he's incredibly impressive once he's got the car behind him. We can only hope, right? You know, we can just keep hitting that copium harder and harder until we delude ourselves into thinking it's hopium. Yeah. Keep up the hope, though, everybody. Don't lose hope. This is a good thing for Mick. He's got a shot. You know what? He's got enough money behind him that I think he'll get another shot no matter what, right? Somebody will need the bucks and the experience. Anyway, shout out to my patrons. Thank you so much to both of you guys, OM and Robert L. You rock. If you want to become my third patron, hit up patreon.com/F1ENDS, and you can support Fiends, where the F1 never ends.